Many, many congratulations, and I can predict that you are going to walk out with a lot of accolades and a lot of awards. Fabulous. I mean, I was just speaking to Mr. Bhansali, and he said that when he first narrated Gangubai to you, you literally ran out of his office saying, "What is there for me to do here?" Did that happen?
Well, in Sir's version, I ran out. But, well, let's say I was very surprised by the change of genre. I was meant to do a film with Sir, which was a completely different genre called Inshallah, which then didn't happen. And I went on a holiday, and Sir said, "You go take a break and come back and we'll chat then." I didn't know he already had something on his mind. And he narrated this script to me. And I just think I was a bit shocked suddenly by this genre and this character. And for the most of it, I didn't believe that I could play a part like this. I asked him, I said, "Sir, don't you think I'm a bit young? Or do you think I'll be able to pull it off?" And he's very instinctive that way. And he said, "I think you'll be able to, but you think about it." And that's it. So he said, "You think about it." Like, he didn't want to pressurize me in that moment. But actually what I was going through was like, okay, it's a completely different genre. How am I going to be able to do it? Will I be, will I do justice to the character? Will I be able to pull off his vision? All of those questions. And then I went home and I'm like, what's wrong with you? If he thinks you can do it, just go ahead and do it. What's the worst that could happen? You'll at least get that experience that you've always wanted. So I messaged him that minute at home saying, "Sir, I want to come and see you tomorrow." Which later he told me he thought I was going to come and say, "So I can't do this." But I went and said, "Sir, come on, like it's you and I have to work with you, and let's do it." And that's it. That's how it all began.
So as he said, when you called him, like, "I'm coming over," he says, "I actually was thinking, now if she's going to say no, I may as well get someone else." So even before he could get the thought of that someone else, you had barged in saying, "Okay, I will do it."
Yeah. No. Then I was like, "Sir, now this is now no turning back from me. Now you have to do only films with me."
But I like your trajectory. I mean, it's impressive, and also you complete a decade in the industry.
Wow, I feel old.
Please, I mean, if you are old, I don't know about the rest of us there. But honestly, it's just amazing. But how did you dive into Gangubai, Because playing a real life character, you can only imagine what she may have gone through, And also, she's a woman, there's that innocence, but she's been vilified, She has been abused, but she still is the badass, as you say. She is a badass. What was it like for you?
See, there was limited information that we had on Gangubai. All we had was the book. That it's more like a chapter within the book. It's not even a whole book. The few beats that important beats that she sort of went through in her life that is available for public information. But the rest of it was just hearsay, and we had to kind of join the dots in between. So we sat with the writer, Hussain Zaidi, and I took some just tips on like what is she like, and just few words here and there, the personality, the kind of person maybe she was, and then the rest of it was just left to Sir and me to create, while keeping the sanctity of what she did intact without meddling with what actually happened. How did she arrive to those points that actually happened? That was the creative journey. So the preparation was there in the writing, which of course I didn't have any part in, but we created and went through the personality of the character on set. So there was no real preparation. It all happened on set. Apart from the dialect here and there, because she's from Kathiawadi, but she also comes to Bombay, so she has like a sort of like a Bombay accent mixed with Kathiawadi. So it's like a combination of both, which we wanted to very subtly put in there. That's it. That was the only linguistic maybe preparation that I had to do before.
True. And that's what impressed me, because I couldn't help but overhear, because there is a bit of Mr. Bachchan's Agnipath, there is a lot of Godfather, I can't do that, but you've got the accent bang on, then her gait, the way she talks, as rightly, she is very feminine, but there is that power play that oozes out of her. It's just like kind of envelopes you,
I think I think what was also the brief is it's the circumstance that gives her that anger and that bitterness.
Yeah.
And what that brings out of your personality is you're sometimes sarcastic, you're witty, you're strong, you're vulnerable, you're emotional, you are unpredictable. So all those things you bring into the character and continue to see where it's going. So that becomes very entertaining if you fall in love with the character, which I did while playing it. It becomes extremely entertaining.
I could see that because you're just living up to, you know, Gangu's larger than life persona. I mean, I wonder what this lady must have been like. And back in the day, we're talking about the 60s or the 70s.
Absolutely. And the fact is that for 50 years, her photo was on all the girls' walls in Kamatipura. She made that impact where she became like their god. So for her to make that kind of impact, she must have had a great, like really, really powerful persona and personality. So we had to do justice to that.
You know, I was just reading about Gangubai. There were not many pictures except for that black and white picture.
No, it's a very old picture.
True, but when I saw you, I could just imagine maybe this was a girl who ran away from home, didn't know what would happen to her. I mean, the thing is, you've immortalized her for everyone. Now, if they look, imagine Gangubai, they'll think, oh, that's what Alia did.
I remember the brief, not the brief, the first description of in the script also was a small, like a diminutive woman steps out. Like that was a brief, like she's tiny. She's not a very tall, overbearing sort of, but it's like chota packet, bada dhamaka, you know, is that what you do? So I remember that being the description, so that was never like her size or her femininity or her love for flowers and perfume doesn't have anything to do with who she is on the inside.
True.
She's hard on the inside.
Only woman who owned a Bentley, and apparently back in the day. I mean,
yeah.
But as you said, chota packet, bada dhamaka, and that's exactly what you have been in the past 10 years. Keep surprising everyone with your craft and your ability to slip into characters. I want to understand Alia Bhatt's mind. What goes on?
But I don't understand my own mind. I don't know how to explain it to you. Nothing goes on, yeah. I don't know. I don't have, my mind is never the same, firstly. It's always extremely overactive, very imaginative, very, sometimes detached from reality, sometimes very, very pragmatic, sometimes totally dreamy. So it keeps changing. That's just the way it is, and which is possibly why I choose very different characters, because it just keeps me more entertained.
So I heard one of the actors, I think, was it somebody from Hollywood, who said, you know, now I don't do movies to please people, I do movies that please me. Is that something that is a little in you as well, that movies that appeal to me rather than box office, commercials, stuff like that?
No, I don't believe that. I feel like if you're acting in a movie, it has to appeal to a certain audience. You can't be doing movies for yourself.
True.
You have to choose parts that make you happy. But I believe the parts that will make me happy are the parts that I would enjoy as an audience. Because I think I'm a very commercial audience. It means, by commercial, I mean that I like simplicity. I don't want it to be too complicated. And if it's complicated, then I may choose a different route with it, just maybe do it for the different reasons. You don't do every film for the same reason. Some films you just do for the love, some films you just do for fun, some films you do for a certain experience. It's always constantly evolving.
But you do see your filmography in the past 10 years, whether it was Highway, Razi, Dear Zindagi, Urta Punjab, and now this, has made everyone sit up and, you know, see how different you are in the way you approach your craft. So that's what your method. I wanted to know your method. What is your method? Because, you know, I see you on Instagram. You're this happy, they say na in Hindi, chulbuli ladki, and suddenly she's magic on screen. You know, there's just another person.
Firstly, I'm not always chulbuli. Instagram is really not a reality. I feel that. There are good days, there are bad days. I don't have a method. I prefer to be surprised by people around me and by my own self. So I don't have one particular path to take. I believe there are a few things that I have to do. I have to be extremely hardworking, I have to be respectful, I have to be punctual, and I have to be alert and aware, like not just take things for granted. Aware of everything, the content around me, the work people are doing, the conversation on set. I can tell with somebody's eyes whether I gave a good shot or not, or a bad shot. So I have to be aware. It's not like I'm worried and I'm waiting for appreciation constantly, but there's an awareness. And you have to be prepared to make mistakes. That's it. So that's my few things that I stand by in life. Other than that, there's no method.
Wow. So it's 10 years of Alia Bhatt. It's also the 10th film of Sanjay Leela Bhansali.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
So it's a milestone. So maybe 10 years later, there will be another movie. His,
20th film
20th
and my
film.
20th year.
Yes.
Well, why not? It's a good idea. I think I'm going to plant it in his head.
You should. But he said something very interesting that, he would, you would come before they were to shoot a scene. He says, I would be thinking, ye kar lete. And you also gave your inputs. So what was that like working with him? Because a lot of people, whether, your contemporaries, all have worked with him. They say that, he can be a hard taskmaster, but he's also master class when it comes to acting.
It was very satisfying because we used to sit on set, we used to come on set, and then it's like, this is the scene. Now discuss. And then ideas. And not just from me, even from the actors that are in the scene. Everybody has an important part to play in his eyes. And that's just the way it is. Everybody adds something. And yes, the beauty is that he would get my mind thinking. What do you think it should be? He used to ask me. Then I used to start thinking, and then my mind would start creatively working, and then I would start thinking, and then I would give suggestions. Sometimes my suggestions used to not be taken, but sometimes they were taken. And when he used to like a suggestion, we used to have one of those eureka moments, and we used to both clap hands and be like, yes, we got it, and we'd move forward. So like that, when it started happening more often than not, we were having a blast, because arriving at something as a team, as a combination, it's another feeling altogether. It's not like you do this, I do that. It's not that. Nothing is, everything is everybody's job. And that's the joy and beauty of making a film and coming together. And that's one of the things that I took away from the experience. And I say this with all confidence. Whatever the fate of the film, I hope it does well. But for me, the experience of teaming up with him was the experience. Like that's the blockbuster experience for me.
So when you came on board to work with him, did you get any feedback from people who had worked with him? Whether it was there's Ranbir, there's Deepika who have worked with him, Ranveer who has worked with him. Did you get any feedback from him? Like, now you're stepping into Bhansali Productions.
No, they were very, like, I remember while I was shooting for the film, I didn't have to explain to Ranbir also what I was going through. He would just understand. And he would just say the right things in terms of like, because he's been through that experience, so he knows that creatively it is exhausting and at the same time so satisfying, and actually it's all you can think about. So I was actually really grateful that he didn't want any of my attention also, because he knew, okay, now this is my attention, this is my love right now, and this is my focus. He was extremely amazing and understanding about that. Even with Ranveer, I remember calling him up, and we were just generally chatting, and I was like, okay, tell me what I can do, like how can I impress her, and like basic things like that. And he said, of course, he gave me lots of tips, which I won't say, but one of the things he said is, listen, it's going to be, you're not going to walk out the same person. You're going to go into it and you're going to walk out a different human being. And this was a combination that was waiting to happen. And like, I can't wait for you to have this experience.
And you're absolutely arresting as Gangubai. I'm not saying it because you're sitting across, I saw the trailer. It's just that your eyes, that bindi is just very, very arresting. And then we saw the trailer, I'm waiting to watch the movie. And he said something very nice, Mr. Bhansali. He's saying for a long time, he says a woman-driven narrative, because he did love stories, I didn't want to approach, but I thought the time was right and the actor was right. Do you sometimes get overwhelmed with because the directors trust you because they know you will not do wrong. But for an actor, is that overwhelming? Or for you that, there's so much of expectations because she's going to deliver?
I think the overwhelming part for me is over.
Okay.
Because that was the point where I was in front of the camera. And yes, there were days where I felt, will I be able to do it? How am I supposed to do it? How am I going to get get through the day. But I did. I gave it my all and I did, and I think he was quite happy, and I think he was very happy with the experience, and he in his own way said it also. I don't think I've had a better experience.
Right.
So I feel very happy that, you know, we had that mutual sort of comfort with each other.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. As I said, if Mr. Bhansali had not picked up Gangubai's story, because even the author told him, you could, you know, pick up someone else. If you had not played her, maybe her story would have never been told.
Yeah.
So anyways, here's to another 10 years of Alia Bhatt.
Oh, how sweet.
Which is the most memorable moment in this. I mean, what a journey it's been, yeah?
Which is the most memorable moment in the last 10 years?
What is most memorable today when you look back?
I
You
don't have
pat
any
yourself
memory.
and say, well done, girl.
Well, I think I give myself a lot of love that I'm still going with the same excitement as a newcomer that I felt
Awesome.
10 years ago. I still have that same enthusiasm and kind of sparkle in my eyes. So yeah.
Looking forward to more of Alia Bhatt, and here's to another 10 into 10 into 10 into 10.
That's so sweet.
Into
Thank
10.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.